Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hello, I'm Tristan Riddell.
And I'm Matt Hansen, and I hereby call this emergency session of the Nerd Party into order.
Welcome to Nerd Party.
Here. All right. Everyone calm down. Calm down. All right, it is October 19th. It is 9:47 p.m. Central Time. And it is, what time are you at again?
It is 10 minutes to 8 my time.
10 minutes to 8 your time. Okay, so we just watched the Star Wars Force Awakens trailer, the latest one, number 3. And we just uploaded a shot-for-shot analysis. Well, I should say it's the trailer frame for frame, and the analysis is coming in the morning because I got to get some sleep.
Right.
And
well,
we
give
felt
your credit,
the need that we needed to do an emergency Nerd Party podcast.
Yes. Well, first of all, give credit where credit's due. You did the shot-by-shot screen cap, so you can take credit for that. And yes, we're here to discuss it literally not even an hour after it's been out.
Not even an hour, because this was this debuted during halftime of Monday Night Football, and I have never been so frustrated in my entire life because I don't watch football, I don't care about football, I even worked in football and I don't care about football, and I texted all of my friends and family that I know who love football and say, hey, let me know when the trailer gets out. That way I can just go to the computer. And they're like, oh, we're not watching it tonight. Every single person who I know who loved football was not watching it tonight.
Really?
Yes. And so I had to, I was out and about and I rushed home and thankfully the good people of Twitter, and I need to give a special shout out to Kessel Junkie because he gave me random updates.
That's how I knew it was the 2-minute warning coming up. And I went to my television and proceeded to sit there frustrated for the next 12 minutes. And like I said, I wasn't nearly as hyped for this trailer as the rest of the world was, although I did want to see it. Mm-hmm. But I sat there for the next 12 minutes kind of cursing the fact that football is the only sport where 2 minutes can last into 12.
I know. It was the longest 2 minutes ever. And on top of that, I was sitting here and Twitter said, okay, it's on. And I'm like, I don't have TV hooked up, I don't have ESPN or anything like that. I'm a millennial, so the cord is cut. And so I'm just waiting here like, oh, I hope they release it soon.
No, they were smart. They did exactly what I thought they'd do. And you guys are hearing this before our actual episode of the Nerd Party that drops this week, where we recorded that yesterday. So the trailer was not out yesterday. But so you're hearing this kind of in backward chronological order, but they did exactly what I said that they would do back then, and they released it simultaneously online. Yes,
absolutely. And I'm going through the let's first impressions.
First impressions. I gotta say, every time I think I'm not as hyped for this movie as the rest of the world, and this happened with the trailer back in April that second trailer came out. Mm-hmm. This happened both times where I think I'm not as hyped as the rest of the world, and then I see this trailer and I'm like, I may not love Star Wars as much as the rest of the world, but damn, that was a good trailer. And I'm excited. I'm really excited.
With this one, I kind of ruined it for myself because I was so focused on getting the frame by frame up on the nerdparty.com and downloading it. Like I had After Effects open, I had the web builder open and everything like that. So when I watched it, I was just thinking about, I'll use that shot. But at the same time, I was kind of thinking, this is a very well-made trailer, and this is exactly what we need, because we do not need everything. We don't need to know everything. It's a Star Wars film. We know what we're getting. And
right.
I think with the first trailer, I was like, okay, cool. It's a nice teaser. It's, it makes us excited, a little nostalgic. Cool. We got to see the Millennium Falcon. Good on you. And then with the second one, I cried like a little baby, and I was rocking back and forth. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. I was literally holding, my fists in front of my mouth so I wouldn't make noise at work. And this one was just kind of like, cool, awesome. Yeah. So I don't know what that means. I think the first one is just your normal teaser, and the second one definitely hits you with the nostalgia in the heart. And this third one was so new and filled with so much new stuff that's the focus.
That's what I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit, is that I think that there was a clear distinction, even though I think both trailers are great, there's a clear distinction between the one that came out in April and the one that just came out now. The one that came out in April, like you mentioned, relied heavily on the nostalgia with the Mark Hamill voiceover, with the first appearance of Harrison Ford as Han Solo in the new movie with Chewbacca. They really wanted to hit that nostalgic sweet spot and make everybody really excited. This one, I think they realized everyone's already hyped for this movie.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I mean, there are news stories today about how Fandango and other movie sites are crashing all over the world because the servers cannot handle the pre-release demand.
And as of the recording right now, Fandango is still down. It was down when I went to my computer before we started recording, before the trailer even dropped. And as of right now, it is still down.
And so many other movie sites are down. I just want listeners to know I'm wearing this with a badge of pride now. Cinemark is the local theater chain in my city. So I got onto their website and got my ticket just before they went down.
Oh, no way. Good for you.
So
awesome. Good for you.
I'm not seeing it as early as everyone else, but I'm seeing it Friday night, December 18th at 7:30 my time. So very, very excited. But back to my point, I think with this one, they knew that everyone's already hyped. So what I liked about this one is it let us see more of the new characters. Because obviously this is, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm presuming these people are going to come back in other movies. This is who we're probably going to be following throughout this new trilogy and throughout the future films.
Yeah.
So why not try to sell us on them in this last trailer?
Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. I think this, like, they're passing the torch by, it's kind of like a Star Trek Generations type deal where they needed Shatner to pass the torch on to Picard to carry on the movies. And I think that's what they're going to do with Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford. They're going to pass the torch on to Oscar Isaac and
Daisy Ridley. Thank
you very much.
And John Boyega.
Thank you. And I think this is a great cast. I'm excited. I've only seen Oscar Isaac before, but
that's what I was going to say. I'm kind of excited that these are relative unknowns. I've seen John Boyega before in a film called Attack the Block. It was a British kind of sci-fi gangster film. It's actually quite funny. So that's the only thing I've seen him in. I've not seen Daisy Ridley. Oscar Isaac has some awards cachet. But I've not seen too much of him, so I kind of like, and to his credit, JJ did this with both Star Wars and now and Star Trek back in 2009. He filled the cast with relative unknowns, which I think that I like that better.
Yes,
quite frankly,
absolutely.
Because as lame as it possibly could sound, I think casting a group of unknowns in a big sci-fi franchise allows us to see the character rather than the actor, if that makes any sense. Like there was when Star Trek was being announced, there was that, will Matt Damon play Captain Kirk sort of thing, and I'm like, I like Matt Damon, but if he plays Kirk, I'm not going to see Kirk. I'm going to see Matt Damon just because he's such a big presence. By casting unknowns who you're not familiar with their work, you see the character rather than the actor.
Yeah, I think it's funny that we're going to get Domhnall Gleeson and Oscar Isaac together in this movie because they're relative unknown. Like, when they were casted for this movie, they were relative unknowns, and they're still kind of unknowns, except they had a movie together called Ex Machina, and they were both fantastic in it together. And that kind of surged them forward in the public eye a little bit more. So, like, over the course of shooting this movie and then post-production for this movie, they have gotten a few hits here and there.
Well, yeah, and how I imagine how many actors want to have Oscar Isaac's career right now, because not only is he doing this 6 months after or 5 months after this, he's in the next X-Men movie as Apocalypse. So, like, he's got two blockbusters within 5 months of each other.
Now, let's talk about certain new things that we saw in the trailer. So, we saw, I have such a hard time remembering their characters' names. I think it's Ray. Daisy Ridley is Ray.
Right.
And, Boyega is Finn. Boyega is Finn. And Oscar Isaac is Poe.
Right.
And then we have, the bad guy, who is played by.
This is the Kylo Ren character, right?
Thank you. Kylo Ren. Thank you. So we see a lot of those people. So like we open up, I mean, and I'm not going to describe it shot for shot because you guys have seen the trailer. And if you want to see it shot for shot or frame by frame, go to thenerdparty.com and hit the blog post. You'll find it from there. And, you know, we see Rey. She's up in she's in this empty, I think the fallen Star Destroyer that we saw in the last teaser. Mm-hmm. And we see her in the Rolly droid. And then a ship lifting off, and we have some narration, you know, like, who are you? And, you know, we think it's Daisy saying, you know,
I'm nobody.
Yeah, and her, you know, the universal, you know, English accent.
Right.
And then we see all those stormtroopers again in what seems to be a colder planet, like up in the mountains. And we see Finn, you know, taking off his stormtrooper helmet, and he has the lines of saying, like, I was born to do one thing, but I have nothing left to fight for. And I think that's confirming for us that he actually legitimately was a stormtrooper.
Yes, that's the impression I'm getting too. And that's what we were all speculating a few months ago when we saw him in the first trailer take off the helmet.
Yeah.
But it seems to confirm that, yeah, he's going, it seems like this trilogy, or at least this movie, is going to be going about from dark to light.
Right. And then right after he kind of takes off his helmet, we see a TIE fighter crash and assumes that it's him. It looks like a Mos Eisley kind of situation, but we know that it's not Tatooine, so it's not Mos Eisley.
Plus, we got a new. I thought I saw in that closer look of the TIE fighter as it's crashing. It is a TIE fighter, but I think whatever this new empire is, and I think they're calling it the First Order. Is that what we're calling it in this new trilogy?
I think so. That sounds right.
So it looks like the First Order did a little bit of a redesign, because it is a TIE fighter, but it's got different coloring on it, if I saw correctly. And maybe it was just a really quick shot, but looks like they've been doing some upgrades to the old Empire ships. Yeah,
it's a darker color. It's blacker. It's got a little hint of red, and I think it looks cooler. It looks nice. And then we see Ren from the back, or it might be Phasma from the back. I'm not quite sure. On a ship, I think, but then we juxtapose next to Ren, and he has this, you know, this modulated voice, kind of like Darth Vader a little bit, where he says he's like, "I'm going to finish what you started," and we see a melted mask of Darth Vader.
That we saw a glimpse of in the second trailer. So now we think we know who has it if this trailer's edited that way, because sometimes they edit shots together that don't happen right next to each other.
Right.
But we're assuming that is so. That means. I mean, we already knew he was evil because he has the tri-bladed red lightsaber, but it seems to be that he's some sort of disciple of Vader.
Right. Yeah, I think there was some rumor heading around that he's obsessed with Vader, and that all he wants to do is collect artifacts of Vader or something like that, and that's why he wants Luke's lightsaber, you know, from Finn, because Finn looks like he has the lightsaber. But then we cut to Ren. It looks like he's torturing Poe with the Force, and it kind of is reminiscent of Vader and Han in Empire.
Except it looks even cooler, because I don't know what he's doing, but he has his hand outstretched right next to his forehead. Mm-hmm. So it's like, is he like, you know, brain hemorrhaging him? It looks like it's pretty intense.
I think he's invoking a memory, because then we dissolve. We don't cut, we dissolve to a shot of a forest being being destroyed by some sort of shockwave, and trees and branches are going everywhere. And so I think it must be some memory of his past, or maybe like Ren's trying to get information from him using the Force, which we've never seen before, and that's pretty cool.
A Force mind probe?
Yes.
Like a Vulcan mind meld?
Yeah, like a Vulcan mind meld, but with the Force. And then, of course, we see a TIE fighter go towards I'm totally going against we're not going frame by frame, but we see a TIE fighter chase after the Millennium Falcon. I'm sure they're in for quite the surprise.
And did you notice, I'm paying attention to this whole trailer. As that point is happening, you're hearing the old Leia theme.
Yes.
I think it's Leia's theme, but it becomes Han and Leia's lover's theme.
Right, yeah. That, like, once we see the Millennium Falcon, that's when we get some of that classic Star Wars music to come back, or at least the sentimental kind.
Because we're about to see...
That's right, we're inside the Millennium Falcon, and we see Rey and Finn, and they're staring at someone, and we see some holograms going around, kind of like in Jedi with when they're doing the preparation, the briefing, thank you, for Endor. And then it's boom, Harrison Ford in the Millennium Falcon talking about it's all real. Like all the stories you've heard, the dark side, the
So,
Jedi.
So this answers a couple of questions, or I think it answers a couple of questions for me, because I was recording with my other podcast last night, Upper Pylon 2, and we're all, Star Wars fans there too. I think everyone who loves sci-fi can love Star Wars and Star Trek. But we were speculating on the poster yesterday, and we were like, well, is Rey, the girl, somehow like related to Han and Leia? We were speculating maybe she's their daughter, and it looks like from this implication that no, they're a couple of strangers, and it must be that in the however many years since Jedi, all their adventures, Luke, Han, and Leia, have become kind of legendary to the point where some people might think that they're fables, or they're kind of overblown, because why would you use that line? Yes, it's true, all of it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely what they're trying to make us believe. And then we see the Falcon go through the Lightspeed tunnel, and it looks
very cool new way.
In a very cool new way, but very reminiscent of Star Trek Into Darkness.
It is, but in watching, or maybe this was just a special edition thing, but that is what hyperspace looked like back in the 70s and the 80s when they were doing the original trilogy. And this is just obviously updated with 2015 effect. It looks great.
I think, it looks fantastic, because I remember when we saw Star Trek Into Darkness, we're like, wow, that looks alarmingly like the Star Wars Lightspeed tunnel. And then now we're seeing this, and we're like, oh, that looks like Star Trek Into Darkness.
Well, I wasn't thinking of the Lightspeed tunnel in Star Trek, but that's because I hadn't seen it in a long time. But I think it's a great effect in both films, and obviously it works for Abrams, so thumbs up on that effect.
And then right after that, we cut to, it looks like Ren, because he has his triple-bladed lightsaber. He's in the rain. He's got it looks like his First Order, like his crew, like they're better than stormtroopers. They're all clad in black. Mm-hmm. And it just looks awesome and epic, and you just know crap's going to hit the fan. And then we go back to the shot that we've seen before with the X-Wings low to the lake, or to the river or whatever.
Except this time we get to see some X-Wings fighting some TIE fighters. And I gotta say, again, this is where I can tell it's a J.J. Abrams film just because of the way it's shot. And second of all, I intend that fully as a compliment, because having just watched the original trilogy again, it's directed extremely well. It still looks great today. But my goodness, I think when there seems to be like a shot in this trailer where the X-Wing kind of does like a loop and comes behind a TIE fighter to blast it away. Mm-hmm. And I've never seen, even in the old films, an X-Wing or a TIE fighter move so fluidly, and the laser effect looks great. I think Abrams just has a talent for showing how grand these ships are. He did it with the Enterprise, and I think he's doing it with these ships too. I've never seen any of these ships look better. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, like the ships look awesome. The camera work is great. It's like in the previous trailer, it felt like, oh wow, we're gonna get something reminiscent of the original trilogy, something old and something familiar. But with this one, it just feels so new and different, but yet it's not strange.
It's not strange, and furthermore, shouldn't it feel new? I mean, like we are bringing in the nostalgia with some of the old crew, but this is not, we're opening a whole new chapter here into all these future movies and spin-offs. We need to have some sort of new feeling. And I'm very happy to say that none of the green screen artificiality that I kind of felt overwhelmed with the prequels, none of that appears present here. It looks very, I know it's CGI, so I'm not dumb, but it looks very, very, quote unquote realistic.
Well integrated CGI.
Yes.
And then we go to the next shot and we see Finn. He's holding a blaster, a rifle, and then we see Poe all clad in his X-wing fighter gear, and it looks like they know each other or they're friends.
I don't know, like, because I get that they know each other, but he kind of taps Finn on the shoulder, and Finn kind of looks back, and he doesn't necessarily smile. So I wonder if those two are rivals in a sense that become friends, kind of like Luke and Han.
It might be. They're probably mirroring the Luke and Han relationship, where they're not like they're comrades, but they're not really friends until the end.
Right.
And then we, like more fighting, more explosions, and Finn and Rey running away from an explosion in the sand. And then we get this cool, interesting shot and it looks like maybe Han. It looks like Han, Rey, and Finn and the Rolly droid are going into some sort of old temple, so this kind of gives me hope, like maybe they're going to go see Luke.
Maybe. And just so that no one jumps down your throat, Tristan, Rolly Droid is BB-8.
Thank you. I couldn't remember that for the life of me. BB-8, thank you. And then it looks like there's another droid, like a tall droid, and it's red, and it looks pretty cool and gangly. And yeah, this temple has a whole bunch of flags above it. I just really we did not get any Luke in this, except in the very next shot, somebody who might be Luke, because it's that same robotic hand shot that is put on R2-D2.
Right. You know what? And I said this when we did our recording yesterday, but I applaud the fact that there's no Luke in any of this, because him being a total unknown, we know he's in the movie, but to what extent and what his role will be, I like not knowing that. And that's, the sentiment I walked away from this trailer, and I'm sure you'll feel the same way once we wrap up, but I hope that this is the last thing we see, because I don't need any more than this. They've teased me sufficiently, and I now just want to see the film.
Yeah, I'm with you, buddy. Then we see Phasma walking by. I can't wait to see what she can do. Kylo Ren chopping his lightsaber again. We see a close up of Rey, and she's crying, and looks like she might be holding someone. I don't know if she's holding something or someone, or maybe it might be a fallen Chewie. I'm not quite sure.
Well, something makes her, because there's a random shot later of something gets her angry, because there's a great, cool little badass shot of her with a scowl on her face, holding a gun and just firing at something. Yeah,
and then we see Finn, Han, and Chewie with their arms in the air, looking at something off in the distance. It looks like Chewie has a bandage around his arm, like he's been hurt in a previous battle, and it's just so cool to see those two together again. And BB-8, it looks like in an X-Wing, kind of like a la R2-D2. I think it's Poe's X-Wing.
Right.
And some more battles, some stormtroopers coming off, and then the shot that you described where she's shooting off in the forest, and Kylo Ren doing his whole force push, explosions, but then the money shot of Carrie Fisher, with her head on Harrison Ford's chest, looking like just the world's about to end.
And very, very, when you watch the actual trailer, it's a fraction of a second, too, that you see that shot. So, so you wonder, something bad's about to happen, or something bad has happened. And given, Abrams is not afraid to take previous universes and alter them drastically. Mm-hmm. I mean, no one would have guessed that the planet imploding from the Star Trek trailers was Vulcan. And when you saw that in the movie, it was super powerful. Yeah. So I think there's a good possibility anyone who's returning may die.
Yes. My money is on Han. I think Han's going to die hard. That's what I think. I think Han's going to die hard at the end because Harrison probably doesn't want to do it again, or they can't afford him. That's what I think.
I think that's the safe bet, but I think any one of them are fair game.
I agree with you. You are right. Okay, and then the final shot is a shot of Finn in the woods. It's nighttime. He activates Luke's lightsaber. It is Luke's lightsaber, and then we see Rey from behind with his helmet off, and we can tell that it's Adam Driver's hair. Right. And he has the triple-bladed lightsaber, and he's coming after Finn, and Finn looks frightened, and then boom, title card, Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
So, very exciting, revealing a little bit more without revealing too much. It was the perfect balance, and like I said, the things that they've held back on, I commend them for. I think some people might be bothered that we haven't seen Luke yet. I am not one of them.
I'm a little upset. I just want one shot, even just the back of his head, or a cloak or something, or the side of his face where we see a little scraggly beard. Something. I needed something. But if it was either this or overexposure, then I would choose this.
Like a kid in a candy store who can't buy things.
Well, I am excited for it. I think this is going to be great, because when they said that they were going to be doing a new trilogy, I was like, why? They almost ruined it with the prequels. Let's move on. Let's just put it behind us. But after seeing this and seeing who's involved behind the camera and in front, I think it's going to be good.
I think so too. I mean, so far I'm not getting any sort of indication that people here don't know what they're doing. I think it's in more loving hands this time around.
Yeah.
And I think that even comparing this to like some of the teasers that were coming out for Phantom Menace, now hindsight is 2020, but when you watch some of those trailers, you can see the sort of troubled, flat acting from a lot of people and people not really putting their heart into it. This one, it feels like a real passion project. So I think it's, without jinxing it, I think we're going to be okay this time.
All right, well, there you have it. So that's your quick and dirty emergency nerd party episode. You'll be getting a full episode later this week. Actually, you'll be getting it tomorrow, if not Wednesday. And we thank you so much for listening and subscribing and downloading. Please go to thenerdparty.com, especially go to thenerdparty.com and check out our blog posts. From there, you can see the Star Wars trailer as well as the frame-by-frame analysis. Again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to hear us ramble on about a 2-minute trailer.
But I think they all enjoyed it very much. And if you want to get a hold of us, you can contact me on Twitter at mhanson0207. Tristan, you're also on Twitter.
I am at the Insane Robin.
So thank you so much for joining us for this very, very special episode of the Nerd Party. And we'll see you at our regular episode later this week. And may the Force be with you always.